what have you seen is changing in these last 9 years of being in the home care? And well, because it was really cool that you talked about the change that happened of people going home more
Hmm.
than in the 90s and early 2000s. So, what are you seeing now have been the changes in these last 9 years?
I think there's less resources than ever since COVID. I think we lost a third of our industry from doctors all the way down. So people who are looking for care, not just home, but needing medical attention, needing procedures, it's taking much longer
So,
to get
general
those things done
shortage of
across
all
the
across the
board,
board, not just
not
nurses.
just nursing, across the board.
All right, welcome to We Are Amada. Thank you for joining us. I am here with the amazing Jenny Novy. She is the owner of Amada Senior Care in North Shore in Greater Chicago, Illinois. Jenny's been with Amada Senior Care for 9 years.
Mm?
Started in business about 8 years ago. And what you may not know about Jenny is a couple more things. Is she has a master's in gerontology and a master's in therapeutic recreation. And also, Jenny can sing.
I can.
Jenny has an amazing voice. She doesn't even have to warm up. It just comes out.
Well, a little warm up.
It's pretty amazing. So what's kind of cool about this is that this is our very new, brand new studio. We used to do these on Zoom, and I think we'll still do them on Zoom. I think Jenny, you've been on the show for a couple of times.
Couple times now.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and so Jenny's the first guest to be here in San Clemente, California, live. So I'm pretty excited about this. A little nervous.
I think you don't need to be nervous.
No?
You're great at this.
Oh, thank you. So, Jenny, 9 years.
Yes. I can't believe it's 9 years.
It went by pretty fast
It went-
to me.
To me,
I don't know if it went
to
by
me
fast to
also,
you.
well, it really did go by fast. Just the ages of my kids. When I started, my
Yeah.
youngest was in fifth grade, right? And now she's a senior in college. That seems pretty crazy.
That is absolutely crazy. So,
Yeah.
okay, let's go back 9 years. It was the year
2016.
2016.
Yes.
So by 2016, we started franchising in 2012. So, I mean, we probably had, I don't know, 30 entrepreneurs who had joined us or
yeah,
something like
30,
that.
40, I think by the time I'm 167, so I don't know what that means.
167.
That's my franchise.
Oh, yeah.
number.
So we're probably about 60 or so,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so go back to 2016. You have the clinical experience. You know senior care.
Mhm.
You are steeped in the industry.
Yes.
And you knew about home care companies, of course.
I did know about home care.
And you started looking at starting a home care company. So walk us through that. How did this happen?
Well, I really started in skilled.
Hmm.
I mean, my very, very first job while I was going to graduate school at night, I took a job as an activity aide right out of college.
Okay.
Just to learn more about the industry. So it was the best job ever, right? And I fell in love with the senior population, and it was really a joy, and just kind of moved my way through different departments, and then I became a consultant. So for years, I consulted in long-term care in skilled facilities. And then both my in-laws in their 60s both got cancer about 5 years apart.
Oh my gosh.
And they both needed home care and hospice at home. And that experience, not that it was bad employees or anything, but I thought we could be doing so much more to support people who want to stay home.
Yeah.
And looking at what was happening in our future, how can we make that happen?
So the experience was positive and negative.
Yes.
It wasn't what you thought it could be.
Right. Just the resources and how difficult it was to navigate. And, really back then, so this was, in the early 2000s, really, home care was really just starting.
Yeah.
So they were just navigating, right? It was, again, it wasn't a bad agency, or it just, they didn't know all they needed to do for families at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have that experience, 2016, but you're still working clinically. What are you doing? Where were you working?
So I would consult. So
You would consult,
So my
okay.
job would be to go into a nursing home and work with the activity department on the types of activities they were doing, or train the nursing staff about dementia, or come in and work with the social services department about new assessments that might be helpful to them. We made sure facilities were ready for Illinois Department of Public Health survey, for Joint Commission survey.
Yeah.
So that was my background, right? I got to come in and fix.
So what's rare about you, and I remember talking to you back in, would have been 15, 16.
Yeah.
And I remember that a lot of folks that had joined the Amada Senior Care were not clinical.
Right.
We had folks that had done pharmaceutical sales. We had folks that, from all walks of life, but no one really was truly clinical. And I remember you saying, I know that part.
Yeah.
I know the clinical side, but what about billing, scheduling, payroll, and running the business?
Yes.
But you did consulting, which was your own business.
Well, I worked in a consulting agency, so it
it
was
wasn't?
not my own business.
Okay.
It was great because as a mother of 4 kids, it gave me the opportunity to take as many clients on or as little as I needed to, depending on where I was in my lifetime. And a wonderful husband that was paying the mortgage as a wonderful lawyer. So I was very fortunate that way, and I got to enjoy being a mom and to still have my foot in the door for work.
Yes, very fortunate. But here's the thing. You start in 2016, and you've built, listen, for somebody who'd never owned a business before, and I can't go into numbers, but you are probably among one of the biggest home care companies in the United States at this point. You're and not only that, you did it in big bad Chicago, in the North Shores of Chicago.
I will say
this is not a small market.
1,200 home care agencies just in one of my counties that we serve. Right.
1,200.
Yeah.
Okay. How did you do it?
Well, first of all, I was given a wonderful model and a mission and a brand that I could 100% commit to.
Mm-hmm.
And that came from Amada and from Tafa and from Chad. And really meeting those 2 men really changed my life and my perspective on what I could do.
Yeah.
And they really gave me these wonderful tools to help my success. I say to my husband all the time, I never would be as big as I am today if it weren't for those 2 and the vision that they had. It's true. It is true. And I'm darn good at my job. I am darn good at it. But they gave me things I would not have been able to do so quickly, to ramp up as quickly as I could, to be able to step in. And that's not to say I didn't work.
Yes.
You're working a lot of hours in those first few
yes.
years. You're filling in on a night shift when your caregiver's not there, and you're picking up the phone at your kid's recital, and because families have to come first.
Mm-hmm.
And the value of both the client and the caregiver that Amada shares is just a beautiful culture to belong to. And so that gave me a lot of courage and strength to do this.
So you've seen over these 8 years or so that you've been in business, you've seen of these 1,200 companies that come and go, right?
Yeah.
And one thing that we talk about when folks are looking at Amada, they ask about the competition. And we have some folks that say, okay, before I acquire the Amada, can you do a competitive landscape? Can you tell me, who are the competitors? Who do I need to look out for?
Yeah.
Did you dive in? And we always say, no, we have never done a competitive landscape before going in. So what has that experience has been like? When you start the business, there's 1,200 competitors there.
Yes, but honestly, there's so much work and there's so much need. And the growth in home care is exponential because, when I first started in the early 90s working in skilled facilities, that's where everyone went. Now everyone wants to go home. People aren't saying send me to the nursing home anymore, right?
Yeah.
Even for rehab and all of those things.
Do you think that has changed?
Oh,
you feel that's changed?
It's totally
really?
A mindset has changed. Medicare has certainly forced a change. You're not getting 100 days to go rehab.
True. It's no more. You cannot be in the hospital.
You're there for 8 days in your home. So there's such a need. We could not be just the only home care agency out there.
Yeah.
We need a lot of good home care agencies. And the more good home care agencies out there, the more successful I will be because people will trust that home care is a wonderful solution for long-term care at home.
In fact, I hear from a lot of owners that as they get to, at first you're competing against everybody, and then as you get to a certain level, you actually start this cooperation or co-opetition, I think we call it, right? Where you have other home care companies. I think you were just saying that you were thinking about doing a podcast with owners of other home care companies.
Yeah, other women owners.
And it actually happens. You interact with these other companies. We see that all over the country.
Absolutely.
You still want to eat their lunch.
I still want to be the best of all of those
but
home care agencies. But honestly, we really need. Can you imagine one hospital sending all of the people that needed help on one day to just you. I mean, you would have to be able to serve
Even
thousands
that
of
one
people
hospital.
a day, right?
Yeah.
So I think the quality that you want to be able to have a personal business with the people that you're providing services for is really, really important. And if all it was slapping things together because it was so fast and furious, it wouldn't be good care.
So, but how do you get into a market like Greater Chicagoland with 1,200 competitors, and how do you make it? And you were the first. There was no other Amada
No.
in all of Illinois.
No, but
I mean,
within 6 months we had a couple
Yes,
of other
but
locations,
you-
but I had to start the brand there.
So
100%.
How did you do that?
So, and you would have thought I had more connections with nursing homes, but honestly, most of the nursing homes I was working in weren't necessarily in my area, or
Sure.
right. So it
Yeah.
just, it was really starting from scratch and knocking on doors and making relationships with other people who were trying to provide good service for the people they were serving in their industry, in SNFs, in senior communities, hospice agencies, home health agencies. Right, there's all of these different needs out there, and making relationships. And I'll tell you, Amada really helps with that part of the business. They really help you learn about all the things and people you need to know in order to grow a successful business.
And you, I wanted to hear from you about, we talk to a lot of folks about the Amada difference and what it is that we do different.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it feels that that difference is only like a few degrees different, right? Because we all have the same caregivers. By the way, would you agree with that? That a lot of your caregivers, I think you were saying to me that last month you had a payroll of over 170 caregivers.
Yeah.
Last month,
What a
170
joy.
caregivers.
I mean, honestly, I feel it's such an honor to be able to
That's
have
amazing.
that many people that are getting a paycheck and putting food on their table. And then what that means is all the service that we provided for all of those people
Yes.
in our area.
But of those 170 that were on your payroll
Yeah.
last month, would you say that a lot of them probably work for other companies as well, or do most of them work only for you?
I would think that probably 80% are working for more than just me.
So if it's not your caregivers that are the differentiator, what is it?
Well,
what differentiates you from all the other companies
I
out
do
there?
think my training process, due to my background and the importance of the quality before we're walking in the door, does make a difference.
Yeah.
I do think some of those things that we've set up, and I'm just helping other agencies with these folks,
True,
right? Which is
right.
great, because whether they're helping
'Cause it's about
my
the
client or
families,
someone
right?
else, because it's about the
Absolutely.
family and
Yeah.
getting the right care.
True.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So that's my way to give back. And so I think that's part of it. But I also think we're very loyal to the people that work with us.
Yeah.
And so we try to do many, many wonderful things for the caregivers. And I think so I'm probably their first agency looking for hours when we have the hours they want to work
Yeah.
with us and with our clients because of our culture.
That's amazing. What have you seen is changing in these last 9 years of being in the home care? And well, because it was really cool that you talked about the change that happened of people going home more than in the 90s and early 2000s. So what are you seeing now have been the changes in these last 9 years?
I think there's less resources than ever since COVID. I think we lost a third of our industry from doctors all the way down. So people who are looking for care, not just home, but needing medical attention, needing procedures, it's taking much longer
So
to get
general
those things
shortage
done.
of
Across
all
the
across the
board.
board, not just nurses.
Not just nursing, across the board.
Yeah.
We really lost people who it was too much for COVID. And the expense of everything has really risen
skyrocketed, yeah.
since COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So how are we going to balance what seniors can afford, what caregivers deserve to be paid, and provide that quality service?
That's the struggle.
That's the
what,
struggle.
what needs to be focused on.
Yeah.
So how do we do that?
So I think we have to look for many funding sources. I think we have to really be creative in helping make sure that we're not just going in and saying everybody needs 24/7 care, because they don't, and that you're able to do short shifts, that maybe you have someone who only needs an hour shower once a week. I think if more agencies could start really thinking about the people they're serving and their needs and not setting so many parameters, it would help improve the care.
That's something that we talk about often, is the advocacy side of what we do, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is a differentiator, that you're not just quoting a rate. You're not just saying this is what we charge, but you're actually sitting down with the family to figure out, what do we really need to do? Honestly.
Yeah.
What do we really need to do? And the longevity of this, right? If dad needs care for another 5 years, how are we going to be able to do that?
It?
Yeah. How do we budget it? So it's funny how I think a lot of people don't realize how much of what we do is not just caregiving, but it's the whole advocacy of it, and it's the consultative nature when we sit down with the family. Do you think that you, with your background, was that what prepared you to be able to sit down with the family and have that empathy for them?
I think that was certainly part of it. I think just learning what home care needed, because, my first year was a first year, no doubt about it. I certainly hit some bumps in the road where I thought, I'm never going to do that again, right? I can do this better.
Yeah.
And so it really helped me hone in on things that were working. And then as I'm growing my staff, who am I bringing on board, right? So I have, we're not just non-medical home care. We do nursing now. I have licensed social workers on my staff. I'm really lucky. I have 17 wonderful people in my office, 99% women,
really?
Which is very exciting.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
By design?
It just was who fit, right, with me. And yeah, now I have two great guys. One's my nurse practitioner. He's awesome. And I have a great marketer who's a guy. But as we're growing the business, it really mattered. I made mistakes with who I even brought on, right? I didn't recognize what was really important. And it's the heart. It's about what you feel inside about what you're doing. Because some days are really difficult and some days are really hard. And end of life is not an easy business to walk into. And so you have to really think about what that emotionally will do to you every day. And when things aren't going the way we want to for someone, and we think they're getting better and they don't, right? How can we support them the best way possible?
Ever since COVID, and with COVID, it became difficult to find enough people, and we got through that. In fact, as a company, we grew by double digits throughout the COVID years.
Yeah.
But it was a struggle.
It was a struggle.
What are you seeing now as far as being able to recruit enough caregivers to be able to continue to grow the business?
I think there's lots of people. Again, I'm in a great metropolitan area for sure. So I have access to more people probably that way. But I would say we're not struggling for applications. And we find lots of wonderful people every week that are willing to join our team and learn and go out there as an Amada caregiver.
And is it true that probably not a week goes by that you don't hire one caregiver?
I can't think of after my second year, a week going by without hiring a caregiver. I think the biggest difference is when I first opened my doors, people would just come and knock. Can I come and apply?
Really?
And now it is not that way, right?
You are going after.
Yeah, you have to put out ads, and it's so different than when we first opened our doors. It's a totally different process.
So knowing what you know now, 9 years later, as a business owner, not just Amada.
Yeah.
What would you do different?
I would hire a few more people more quickly.
Okay.
In my
waited
office
too long.
staff. I remember I have a funny story. I think I'm open 3 months. It's me, myself, and I, right? And I'm trying to answer phones and train the caregivers and run to clients' house to do meet and greet.
I will say that's kind of a Chad and Taffa thing.
Yeah.
We used to advocate a lot of do it all yourself. And you can do it and wait. And I think we've adjusted that a little bit. But I think that was part of our...
It was. It is adjusted now.
It was wait. So 3 months in.
3 months in, and I've got several clients going here, right?
Yeah.
And I'm running, and I'm sleeping over on night shifts when I don't have a caregiver, and I'm telling my husband, I got to go. Sorry, I know we're in the middle of a movie. So my husband and I it was one of the Avenger movies, and it was like the last 8 minutes,
Yeah,
right, where everything's happening.
Yeah, you didn't
and
miss much. Those are terrible movies anyway.
Terrible movies. Horrible. Who wants to sit through that? So we're sitting there, and I see the phone ring, and I see the caregiver client. I said, I'm not even going to answer this right now. We got to go. And I just knew it.
Wow.
Because this client had really been declining, and he, I'm sure, was sliding down. He would want to sit in this leather chair, but then he would slide down. So he's not getting hurt, but she couldn't get him back up off the floor by herself because he was dead weight.
Yeah.
So I said, come on, honey, we have to go get Mr. So-and-so off the floor. And he was like, 8 minutes. I'm like, we got to go right now. So, he would come with me, and we would help and get everybody situated because we didn't want anybody getting hurt. And that same story, that client who is still with me today,
No way.
the husband passed, we're taking care of the wife.
Oh my
so
gosh, that's amazing.
8 years of a client with
Wow.
this family. The wife had the beginning stages of dementia, and she didn't like the caregiver helping the husband.
I see.
Which is, sometimes typical.
Yeah.
And so I would get a call from the caregiver, and they'd say, I'm hiding in the garage. She's kicked me out again. And I would come in my pajamas. It would be 2 a.m. I'd come in my pajamas, and I'd open, the garage code. The daughter gave me the garage code, and I'd say, okay. And then I'd go in, and hi, it's me. And then we'd sit down, and we'd start talking, and I'd slowly help her get back to bed, and then we'd let the caregiver back in. But yeah, those, I miss being able to do so much for the clients, because that's a hard thing as an owner, to let go and let other people do some of the things that you're doing.
Which is funny you should say that.
Yeah.
Because although you're describing something difficult, it sounds like it brought some level of joy.
Oh, I mean, if I can help.
It was.
Yeah. I mean, not that I wanted to be up all the time at 3 a.m.,
No, but
it's rewarding when you're making a difference in somebody's life.
Yeah.
Right? It's really, really rewarding. And how that daughter didn't have to drive from 20 minutes away to come to the house, right? We could
and
do
still
it
be a daughter,
yeah. and is still a daughter today. It's very rewarding.
So you would have hired folks sooner.
I would have hired office staff sooner. I would have hired more caregivers more quickly. Not just you're always afraid how you're growing, right?
Of that
but
timing
now
and when.
forget it. Now I'm like, let's go. Yeah.
Do you also see a pattern of with your office staff?
Mm-hmm.
There was a quote by this guy on LinkedIn that said, "I've realized that I'd rather pay somebody a much higher rate for my staff, and they will do unbelievable work as opposed to a lower rate." So the talent, right? The level of talent of people that you have in your office, these 17 folks that you have. What has been the learnings there over 9 years of who you hire and how you compensate and how you train them and how to build that core team in your office?
I think experience matters, right? So if I had someone coming in and they've had 10 years working as a social worker, as a care manager, as a case manager in a hospital, right? Their value is going to be a little different than someone who's just starting out.
Yeah.
Certainly, right? Because that experience is going to add to what we're doing in the office. But honestly, Marcos, I go back to really having a heart. What is your life experience of why you want to do this kind of work? Because it is an urgent business. It is every day there is someone who's really in need, and it can't wait till tomorrow, right? So you need that attitude from the person who's answering the telephone on the first ring to the social worker to the nurse practitioner, right? Everyone has to have that same mindset.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what is next for Jenny Novy?
Gosh, if we could just keep serving more seniors, making a difference, if I could start finding more funding sources, right? I'd love to see some non-for-profits out there get involved in senior care. We really need it. It would be wonderful to see something allocated towards people who can't afford to pay for care at home, that aren't on Medicaid. I think our lower middle class folks are really going to struggle over the next 10, 20 years because of the expense. And I'd love to see more monies put towards those folks so that they can have choice just like everybody else.
Very interesting. Do you see as these funding sources, do you see the government coming in and becoming a bigger paying source?
Gosh.
A lot of people don't know this, but
Right.
they're not a significant paying source for caregiving today.
No, they're not. There are some Title II, right, age option programs.
Yeah.
There are some things, but
Yeah.
it's minimal. Medicare just came out with the new guide program, so a little bit of amount of care for someone with a diagnosis of dementia to give respite. But in the grand scheme of things, 70 hours or 100 hours over an entire year is really just introducing someone to the wonders of home care, right? It's a wonderful introduction, but how are we going to help them sustain that a little better?
Yeah.
Yeah. And be able to pay people well. People have to eat. People look at the price of gas and eggs and everything else. So the workers have to be paid well enough to be able to have a successful life themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Last thing I wanted to hear from you, because I've kept you long enough, is you've served on the Franchise Advisory Council and donated a lot of your time to the system. For me, it's been interesting to see the entrepreneurs who have joined Amada Senior Care since 2012.
Yeah.
What has that experience been like of the folks that you've met here at Amada? Not just Chad and Taffa, the two founders, but all of the franchise partners that you interact with.
Well, I have many wonderful friends that I have been friends with, starting out. I laugh at some of the people that I started with on Discovery Day here or Amada U that are still here working so hard for the same goal of that quality care out there. It's invaluable to have partners that you can discuss your business with and discuss scenarios and what do you do here and how do you handle this, because people who are in it really do understand what you're going through every day, and it's a wonderful support system.
It's great. Well, Jenny, thank you for doing this.
Thank you. Of course. I'm here all day.
I was going to ask you to sing us out and maybe create the first Amada podcast jingle.
Gosh, we didn't talk about a song, though. What song would it be?
We Are Amada. That's the show.
Yeah, right? What could we
Amada.
We should write a jingle for this, and then I'll come back and sing it.
You'd sing the jingle for us?
Of course.
Really?
Yeah. So we'll just say, Amada, oh, Amada, how I love you so.
There you go. That's the jingle. Richard, is that a good jingle? Fulia? Did we catch it? All right. Well, thank you for joining us on the very first live podcast recording. And thank you for Fulia and Richard for putting this whole thing together. You guys don't see them, but they're behind the cameras and doing amazing. And they set up this whole room, which is really cool. We had to kick people out of this room to do it, but we got it done.
I'm glad you got your own space for this. It's awesome.
Yeah. So thank you so much. If you want to learn more about Amada Senior Care, you know where to find us. It's not hard to find Amada Senior Care.
No, it is not. We are everywhere.
Yeah. So just call us and you'll learn more. Thank you so much for joining us. Jenny, thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Amada, oh, Amada, how I love you so.
There you go. That's the jingle.